Bowels of Netflix, where your fearless co-hosts Isaac and Larry force each other to watch the worst pieces of shit on Netflix. We will go over every bad edit, all the broken dialogue, all the wooden acting, and laugh along the way, because this is the Bowels of Netflix! All right, welcome to the Bowels of Netflix. I am Isaac, and as always, with me is my sexy co-host Larry. How are you doing, Larry?
I'm hot, and not
I know.
Not in the sexy way.
No, you're hot in the sexy way.
It's hot in here. I'm also sad.
Hot and sad. That's an epitaph right there for you.
Hot and sad, a supermodel's journey.
Oh God, you have to write an autobiography now.
Yeah.
All right, if you're just getting into this crazy concoction we've been dreaming up, it's called The Bowels of Netflix. What we do, because we're sadomasochist lovers, I take a horrible movie I found on Netflix that I haven't really seen. I might have watched a couple minutes of it, and I force Larry to watch it, and on today's episode, he's going to tell me all about it. And next week, we're going to flip it, and Larry's going to make me watch the worst movie he can find, and I'll have to describe it in disgusting detail.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I won the challenge this week, because mine is just...
Yeah.
It's so boring.
Yeah, I was hoping there'd be more excitement, but
there's
we'll
excitement. I mean, there is quite literally toe-tapping excitement.
Ooh, toe-tapping.
Oh,
I'm curious to see what that means.
Yeah, it's some stuff. Tell me about the things. I'm just gonna cry.
We do exist on the internet. There is a Facebook, as long as Mark Zuckerberg hasn't killed himself yet. That's at Bowels of Netflix, and there's Twitter, which is at Bowels of Netflix as well. If you want to communicate a little more substantially and possibly get your words on the air, you could email us. That's That's bowelsofnetflix@gmail.com. That is an email address. You could shoot us a line. You could tell us what you think of the show. You could suggest horrible movies we could subject each other to. Or just, leave some thoughts about what you think. That would be what thoughts are.
And you could always send a raven to my address, and I'll have it taken to the rookery.
Yep. Remember, raven for Larry, carrier pigeon for Isaac. Don't mix them up.
Aren't carrier pigeons...
I'll kill any ravens that get to my place.
Yeah, and I will kill and eat any carrier pigeons. If you manage to... I'm pretty sure carrier pigeons are extinct. So if you manage to have one, I think I'm going to take it and sell it and, fuck this podcast right in the ass.
You'd be like Fry on Futurama with the only pack of sardines or anchovies or whatever.
Yeah, I'll have the world's only carrier pigeon. I mean, I don't know.
Hot market for that.
Yeah, it's going to replace the cell phone. we were just using cell phones so we could rebreed the carrier pigeon back into existence, obviously.
Yeah, it's just a placeholder.
And while we're in the introductions mode, I'm currently using a borrowed audio source. My headphones decided to take a shit. Literally, as we started recording, we had a much funnier starting bit that I compared the dog to a cartoon turkey. It was great. But
it was the funniest thing you ever would have heard, but now you'll never hear it.
It's true. Isaac, he actually gained a year on his life. He aged a year. He laughed so hard.
Yeah, I got some gray in my beard. It's terrible.
Yeah, and you should see his pubes. Whew. Clean as a whistle, he shaves. So that joke went down the window. But no, so if the audio on my end sounds terrible, by maybe not next episode, but the episode after, I will have a brand spanking new microphone, so I won't sound like just utter garbage. And I'm a little depressed about it now, so don't mind me.
Oh, you'll sound fine, Larry. We'll work some magic in the professional recording studio where the mixing and rendering happens.
Yeah, because when you think of Bowels of Netflix, you think of professional.
Obviously.
But you know what? I got a great movie here that's just going to really bring the energy up.
Now, Larry went halfway around the world to Bollywood this week. What was your movie?
Isn't that entirely around the world? No, I guess I'd be back in my same place. Yeah, I went halfway around the world to Bollywood to watch a movie, which I don't even think Isaac knew this at the time. Secret. The second of a trilogy. The movie I watched this week is called Grand Masti.
A trilogy?
Masti. And this translates to Grand Fun.
Ooh, Grand Fun. I
So
have that all the time.
Masti translates to fun, which we'll get into this movie. We'll get into it in the review. What exactly fun means in the context of this movie. So Isaac,
so in the place of the trilogy, where are we at here? Are we number one, number three,
number two? Now,
all
however,
right, right in the middle.
This is not like a Star Wars because I'm a professional. Like a Star Wars, this is.
So we're not Empire Strikes Back.
No, the Masti trilogy is characterized by the three main characters, and that's it. They're the same three every time, and they're always friends, and they always. Well, we'll get to that, but there's not like this. This is not the sequel to Masti 1. Like we're not. There was no questions left hanging in Masti 1, which is called Masti, that are going to be answered by Grand Masti. We're entering an entirely new story.
So just more zany adventures that don't really relate that much to the other ones.
Yeah, they don't relate at all, except for some of the same actors and I think a few of the side characters I don't care enough to look.
All right.
So I wanted to ask you, Isaac, what made you choose this movie for me?
Well, as I normally do, I go on Netflix, just leaf through some crappy movies, watch about the first 2 to 5 minutes, give or take. Mm-hmm. And this was so intense and in your face, and there's just music and dancing and just vomiting Bollywood in your face.
It's definitely that.
Yeah, that was enough for me.
Yeah, okay. Well, you definitely hit on that. And there is a few redeeming parts of this movie, and a lot of it is related to the fact that it's a Bollywood movie. If you've never seen one, and this is the first I've seen beginning to end, we'll get into it. They're pretty wild. So what did you just hear that dinging? Because something in my house dinged. I'm going to smash it, I swear to God. And I don't want you to cut this out. I want you to leave it in, because this is how angry I get when my things don't work. Because if something in my house dings again, I'm going to smash it. It just did it again. I swear to God.
Well, I'm not hearing any dinging, so that's a good sign.
I'm going to throw something off this desk and get whatever is dinging in this house.
What are you going to do when you get old and you end up being impotent? Because then your penis isn't going to work. Are you going to smash that?
Is it dinging?
Well, I've never been impotent, so I don't know. Someone ask a doctor.
You should try it. It's great. So, okay. All right, so Grand Masti, if you want to, pulling that up on IMDb. Now, this, of course, is a film that was not produced in America, so a lot of our American websites are going to be sort of lacking in some of the details. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say, you or our listeners are not going to know a goddamn thing about any of the stars of this movie. And if you do, my apologies. I did not know anyone coming into this. There's no, like, Ron Jeremy cameos or anything like that. But it made... I have... The box office in the USA, it opened in 2013, which is when it came out, which searched me as to where the hell it opened. It's a limited release. But opening weekend was 73,000, and it grossed 362,000 in the U.S.
That is pretty small in terms of movies.
Yeah.
I'm curious how that compares to other Bollywood movies, though, actually, because the audience obviously is somewhat limited.
Well, that's kind of interesting. So I went over to Wikipedia for the Indian box office. So it actually did quite well, to the point where it actually it joined something called and I'm going to fuck up the name of the money again. Crore, I think. Crore is like, oh shit, it's like the Indian word, and again, I know the language is not Indian. I'm so sorry. I think what's the language they commonly speak in India?
I don't know.
God,
no idea.
So,
well, they probably speak more than one lanlanguage. Maybe. Well, I don't even know.
Really is
China
a lot
does
because
that
the Indian box office is like different categories based on the different dialects.
Okay.
Okay. So, now I'm making dead air. So you might want to mark this down because I fucking can't remember what the goddamn money's called. I had this pulled up and everything I restarted my computer and didn't pull anything up.
Is it called Sven Smookies? Sven Smookies?
Sven Smookies. Okay, all right. I'm going to cut back in here in a second. Okay, so yeah, it broke this. It was like the 100 crore club, which is like it made a shitload of money. it very well. Like it's on a list for it broke some weird box office record for like opening day. I mean, it's been since broken, but like at the time, especially because it's and I'll spoil a little bit here what we're going for. It's supposed to be a sex comedy, which was kind of notable for how well it did.
This is the American Pie for Bollywood, maybe something comparable.
The weekend total for the first day was 6.1 million of American in
Wow. That's some money. That's pretty good. Not Black Panther, but I'll take it.
No. But it did quite well. And it was not reviewed that well. But that's kind of weird, and this is where we get into a sort of weird territory in the battles of Netflix, where there's a lot of cultural divides that I don't know about how Bollywood works, and culturally what's acceptable and what's not. I mean, let me show my age a little bit and this is funny because older people would laugh at me for hearing this. You think of what's acceptable in like an American comedy, even a sex comedy, like let's say American Pie. And like American Pie, which I haven't seen, so good fucking reference there, you dumbass.
It's a good movie. It's dumb, but it's good.
Girls have their titties out, right?
Yeah, you see some titty.
Okay. Yeah, no titties in this. Nothing remotely like that. And that's another interesting point we'll get into. Boy, do I have some complaints about that. And I don't mean just because there's not titties. I mean of what the different cuts of this movie that exist.
Okay.
So yeah, it did pretty well in India. That's the long and short of it. On Rotten Tomatoes, there are no critical reviews, at least on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm sure they exist. But the audience score is 34%, which I swear to God, I can't prove it because my memory's terrible. And but I swear to God, when I first watched this, it was like 29, which means somebody else probably watched it and reviewed it highly. So it's not great, and it was in India. It was critically reviewed poorly too, for the sexual content, which is kind of baffling, and we'll get into that.
Will be an interesting cultural trip abroad for this episode, I guess.
Yeah, it's actually kind of made me curious about how like the Indian box office works and how, because there's a lot of people there and there's a lot of Bollywood movies, and I really want to know. Like, I kind of want to learn more about it now. Not enough to actually do it, but if somebody much smarter and handsomer and not as hot as I am, and by hot I mean temperature wise, like has a podcast about it, I'd listen to that.
Yeah. Well, and just culturally, especially in terms of sexualization of certain things, it's fascinating how different it is. Like a lot of cultures, especially closer to the equator, probably more so in Africa than the Middle East. But tits are not sexualized because everyone just doesn't wear shirts because it's so fucking hot.
Right.
But yeah, you can't walk around with your tits out in the States or you get arrested, and you can't even show tits in Bollywood, apparently. It
seems weird. Like, this is... it seems marketed and critically reviewed like it's like an adult sex comedy, but it kind of seems like it was aimed as a family movie in some ways. It's
interesting.
It's kind of what I would expect, like teen Nickelodeon. It would be their raciest picture, if that makes any sense. But it's rated MA. It's really weird.
If this podcast ever falls on the ears of someone who lives in India, let us know what you thought of the movie if you've seen it, because it'd be really cool to have a perspective of someone who's familiar with this type of movie.
Yeah, absolutely. And like give us some examples of some like really good Bollywood movies and why they're good. And also, if you have the time, give me a complete written history of Bollywood and all of that, and have it on my desk by Friday. But
and if you could mail us Mahatma Gandhi's sandals, that'd be really nice. I'd like those.
I'll just take one. Of them.
Yeah, well, one for each of us.
Well, I mean, if you only have one, send it to me.
Selfish son of a bitch. That's not very Gandhi-ish of you, Larry.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're right. So anyway, the theme of today's episode is it's kind of boring and dull, because and again, I wonder if this is just my piggish bullheaded Americanness, where I was kind of just bored. I mean, it wasn't, there's definitely some good things I want to talk about and some things that were interesting and funny, and there's 3 parts in particular that really just they blow you away, but the rest of it is just kind of like, oh well, this is just crappy comedy. It didn't have the sort of offensiveness that White Chicks had, nor the sort of head-scratchingness of your fucking 14-word movie. Don't drink your juice and don't be a menace in South Central while drinking your juice in the hood.
That's
rolling down the street, rolling endo, sipping on gin and juice. Shit, we gonna get flagged for that? How good was my rendition?
Spot on.
Oh,
We're
damn.
going down, Larry.
All right. Yeah, I look forward to being in the poorhouse, where I definitely don't live now. But yes, I wonder again if it's a cultural divide, or if I'm just a pig, or if I was just bored. But I think there's definitely one reason that I'll get into in exquisite detail as to why I was pissed off about this. But so Isaac, I want you to guess what the theme. I want you to guess what the give me like what you give me as fucking words. What you think a synopsis of this movie would be? A brief one.
Okay. Based on the little bit I saw and the Netflix description, which gave me, an overview.
Mm-hmm.
It's three guys who go back to a college reunion, something about college, and their sexual escapades, but I believe they have wives, so I would guess it's them maybe cheating on their wives, or just a variety of sexual escapades. Maybe swapping wives, or cheating on wives, but not letting the wives know, and all the zany things that would therein unfold. That's about all I have. Okay,
that's pretty close. I feel like to give you an A+ on that, like you got White Chicks spot on. I feel like to give you an A+ in this, you would need to go into more of the zaniness, because you did not hit enough of the zany. But
okay,
that's
so where am I sitting at? Like a B?
You got like a B, maybe a B+. Because you got the basic plot to a B+.
I'd show my mom that report card. We're good.
Yeah. And what do you think a theme of this movie would be?
Don't cheat on your wife?
Right.
Or do maybe I'm 100% wrong on that. Maybe do cheat on your wife. One of those.
Okay, I mean, all right. And for an off-the-wall question, how many cutaway music videos do you think there were in this movie?
Cutaway music videos. Well, in the first 4 minutes, I saw one. So I'm gonna guess, just based on that ratio, 14.
Okay, you're way off on that one. Jesus, holy Christ!
Did I overshoot it?
You overshot it by just a bit.
Well, if they showed up every 4 minutes, then I would have been close.
Yeah. Well, not quite that. It's just the beginning is a little, it's wonky.
Okay.
All right. So, yeah, let's get this out of the way right now. I speak English and, a handful of Spanish words, and I know how to say, a sister fucker in Hindi. I don't speak the language that's spoken in this film. I don't even know what the language it is. I don't want to say the wrong thing, because there's a lot of languages over there.
Palak paneer, I think.
Are you serious? Because
I'm pretty sure that's a food.
Okay. I speak the language of food. Croissant.
Well, yeah.
Bread bowl. Supersize me. Okay. But I'm pretty sure the translation on Netflix is not great, and here's why. Because of what I'm seeing, the synopsis on Wikipedia and elsewhere, and it kind of makes me think there's a lot cut out, and we'll get to that. But there's a lot of English in this movie, and from my understanding, I used to be a bigger fan of anime when I was much weebier and not a regular human. But from what I understand, in a lot of Eastern countries, English is cool. It's like a cool thing to say. It's kind of how, we incorporate other words into English. English is kind of like the cool thing you incorporate in your own language. So that'll be, just be a paragraph of another language. That'll just be, do you have it? And things like that. And just in English, where there'll be some of the song lyrics will be in English. It's kind of odd. But because there's prevalent English, I would say maybe 15% of this movie is in English.
Oh, wow.
I can kind of tell that a lot of the translations aren't great.
Okay. So I guess that makes sense.
So there's going to be a bit of a divide there.
Guy.
And I think part of that is laziness, and part of that is intentional. but we'll get to that.
Okay.
And the music in this movie, it is fucking incredible. I loved every second of all of it.
I went down the wrong rabbit hole with this one. I think you enjoyed it too much.
You did. Well, it's definitely not good. I definitely didn't like it, and I definitely did not want to watch it 3 times.
Okay.
However, I will definitely carry some of the music with me. Also, I can tell I'm kind of loud, folks, so I apologize. I'm going to make my audio slave, not the band, the actual audio slave I have chained up in somewhere in New Jersey.
In the professional studio.
Yeah, well, I mean, is it professional when there's a slave there?
Yeah.
I mean, he's white. Okay, I'm getting off this train. Getting off this fucking offensive train. All right, so we spent a lot of time talking about this just because there's a lot to talk about surrounding it, but I think a lot of that's due to our lack of knowledge about the whole medium and all that. It's kind of interesting, but I think I would have gotten that same sort of base with any Bollywood movie. There's a lot of them on Netflix too. It used to be, I don't know if it's still the case, used to be a lot of like Latin dramas. I don't know if they're still on there. I haven't done enough digging.
That'd be an interesting one.
Yeah.
I think we should definitely, dip a toe into some different cultural movies. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
And especially, we would suffer through them because we don't know the culture, so we're just off kilter there.
Right.
So that'd be good fodder.
Well, that's the thing too here. Like, well, there is definitely some suffering on my end because of the writing. Writing is universal, and god damn, is it bad in a lot of places. But there's a lot of like, there's a lot of like cultural oddities that I found more interesting and like, well, that's weird than I did just downright bad. Where I've like, Damon Wayans clipping his toenails at a table, for example.
Right.
So. Okay, anyway, let's get into it. By let's, I mean me, and you just sit back and relax and twiddle your dick, whatever you do. So we see our main characters. It's a trio. I'll get to them in a minute. This beginning part really isn't about them. They're just kind of there. They're giving an impromptu, quote-unquote, lesson to a group of college students, and they themselves are college students, about how the things they are taught in school, like A for apple, B for ball, C for cat, that's them, not me. And that whole ABC concept, it's kind of like a running thing in the movie they bring up every now and then. It's kind of like one of their catchphrases. Like, life is not all black and white. It's not all about A for apple, B for ball, C for cat. Kind of is and isn't a thing that keeps popping up. They talk about how they work hard, but they also have masti, or, like I said, fun. Now, you see, Masti to these 3 is a religious experience. Like, the one guy, probably the best actor of the 3, he like literally starts to shake like somebody having a religious experience, like a be healed sort of thing. To Masti, so let's I'm going to treat it like a religion. I'm going to treat it like a religious, like a what's the word? A pilgrimage, sort of, not like an actual pilgrim. Well, there is pilgrimage.
So pilgrimage of fun.
Kind of. It's like pilgrimage isn't. It's half right. It's like an event, but not like something you go attend or like something that happens on a Thursday the 13th. It's like it's sort of this religious, fervorous sort of thing. But basically, it just boils down to fucking.
Okay. Well, that's a religion I could get behind.
It's really just like, we're going to find, like, Masti is, we're going to find, if you and I were to go have some Masti, I mean, first of all, we push your wife's wheelchair down the stairs and keep her away from us because, we don't want that.
I'll put the locks on.
Yeah.
She can't undo those because her fingers don't work too good anymore.
That's right. That really is a shame.
I know.
But anyway, so then we'd go out and have Masti, which is basically just, find a hot girl and fuck her, and then that's Masti. We've had Masti, and then we just go back to normal. So kind of like going to church, but it's more intense. Like, to them, it's, going to church is, even for the super religious, it's sort of like a ho-hum event. It's kind of like Easter Sunday sort of thing, where you build up to it. I don't know. I'm
so
giving
the
it
Church of Pussy.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess women can have Masti too. I don't know. It's
Church of Cock, yeah. And men could have Church of Cock too,
I really wish I was talented enough to like do makeup on the fly like a Monty Python with cock and pussy in it, but I'm just not that talented. Anyway, sorry. there's going to be a lot of explaining because it's very odd. And things aren't explained well, but Masti, it's religious experience of these boys. So they're given their speech, and they get a standing ovation, and immediately a sexy lady walks by, and because they're talking about Masti, obviously they have to indulge in the Masti. By that means they got to ogle this woman. It also involves a lot of ogling and making faces. So this sexy lady walks by, and she's eating an ice cream pop. And she spills it down her chest, and she's wearing like a low-cut top. This is where the injustice begins. So, this movie has several different cuts. Now, if you go on to Netflix right now, which I'm about to do because I didn't write down the time because I'm a fucking dumbass, you will see the running time. I don't know if you remember off the top of your head while I'm looking for it. It's
an hour and 39 minutes.
You are the best. It's an hour and 39 minutes. If you go on to IMDb, I think it is, we see that the running time is 137 minutes. Now, if you do the math there, you'll find that's a little over 2 hours. So we're missing...
Oh, they cut a lot then.
We're missing quite a bit of footage. Now, what we are missing from all this footage are the sexy bits.
Okay, so are the sexy bits allowed in India, but not on Netflix in America?
I think so, and I don't know why. So
I know.
Okay,
we can have titty movies.
Me being a pig is like, yeah, American Pie, for example, because it's the only sex comedy I can think of off the top of my head because I'm a hack and I'm drunk and high and shouldn't have a podcast. That's a reference that I shouldn't steal from, and I'm not drunk or high. But yes, so all the sexy parts get cut out. So, and this took me 2 watchings to figure this out. I had to watch it a third time in order to fucking collect all of these scenes and realize that there's so much cut out. Because the first time I took no notice, I was just kind of drinking it in. And the second time I'm starting to realize, well, there's a lot of stuff that just seems out of place. And it kind of all came together that we have these different cuts. So if you watch Grand Masti on Netflix, you are getting cheated out of the sexual content of this movie, my friends. So, take that as it lie. Play that as it lie, as they would say in the Happy Gilmore and wholesome American family movie.
No tits in that one, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, there aren't. I had to think about that. I haven't seen Happy Gilmore in probably 15 years. So, yeah, so we get the scene, we get the boys watching her. This woman, the sexy lady's walked by. She spilled ice cream down her chest. And she, goes to a fountain to clean it up. And we cut to the boys' faces, which I'll get to that in a minute, too. That's something else. And then we cut back, and she's cleaned up and walking away. So what I'm then realized after the third watching is they cut out the sexy bits.
So she dunked her tits in the fountain and wiggled them around to get the ice cream off.
No, she probably, splashed them around. I don't know what she did, Isaac. You tell me.
Ooh, it could be anything.
Yeah. So, I'm assuming she, splashed around. So I have to make a lot of assumptions about what the sexy bits are and fill in the pieces with Wikipedia as best I can.
It's almost like you're a co-writer on this movie now.
Kind of, yeah.
I'm liking this.
I've had to fill in 40 minutes of content with my brain.
That could be a career for you, Larry Beard, sex specialist. You just write all the sex scenes for Bollywood movies.
A sex polished. Okay, that bombed. So yeah, these guys' faces, these 3 heroes, and I am gonna explain them and use their names and whatnot. But these guys, they're actually kind of charismatic, not from their writing acting, but their acting, because these 3 dudes give it their all, and they have some pretty funny faces. They really. I mean, if you saw that far, if you saw to the music video, which is coming up, you saw them making ridiculous nonsense faces. That's every shot. At least one of them is making the most goofiest, overactingest face because it's it's a light comedy. It kind of works. It's not really offensive to me because it's meant to be. And it's I'll give them credit. The actors are charismatic in that sense. So we got that. Then there's this weird side story that lasts for 5 seconds about this not attractive girl who calls out to one of the boys and she's like, "Oh, Preem, hello, I miss." This is not me making fun. This is what she sounds like, and she does say it in English. "Hello, I miss you so much. I love you." And then he's like, "Oh, get that thought out of here. and then it breaks into a music video, as you do.
The first of 14.
Yeah, I'm not. It's full-on Bollywood music video within 5 minutes, and it is the fucking best. If you've never seen Bollywood dancing, it is so worth it. And now, I don't know what good and bad Bollywood kind of acts are, because this is new to me. But these like music videos that the movie just breaks into, they are a real treat.
It's a feast for the eyes, to be certain.
There's so much going on, and the dancing, it's kind of like Terry Crews last episode. Well, my last episode, episode 1. They're all so into it. It's like they're in the middle of a stadium. There's shitloads of backup dancers and drummers and flag wavers, and there's parking lots full of double-decker buses, and they're like doing these crazy dances with these white blonde girls, and they're like rubbing handkerchiefs everywhere. It's the best. And I mean, at this point, I'm 5 minutes in, and I'm just getting to watch this kick-ass dancing, fucking awesome Bollywood movie. So, I'm loving it. It's great. The music videos aren't part of the plot until they are, and we'll get to that later.
Sounds interesting.
But it's just like, it just cuts away, and then, then it cuts back into the movie. But yeah, we got some good quotes, some good English lyrics that I don't know how accurate these are.
Because they're translated on subtitles, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But we've got here, some examples include, you're my light, you're my sugar syrup. We have reached the moon and you're scared to come to the terrace.
What?
And don't make me... This is like the chorus line. It's not in English. Don't make me restless. Either give me your heart or kill me.
Ooh, I'm gonna sneak these in to like sexy talk with Mrs.
You're my light, you're my sugar syrup.
Yeah, but just do it like full on committed to it and see if she stops me and is like, what the fuck?
You've reached the moon and you're scared to come to the terrace. I was trying to figure out, like, okay, so contextually, is that like we're standing here naked in front of one another and you're afraid to let me put it in you? I don't know.
Well, I'd probably say that one as she's unzipping my pants.
But at that point, she's not afraid to come to the terrace, because the terrace is your cock, which is going to flop out uncharismatically.
Well, yeah, when she sees how enormous it is and thinks about how tiny her mouth and throat are, then,
Oh my god. I'll take your word on that. Isaac and I, fun fact, Isaac and I have known each other, 12 years, 13 years?
Yeah.
And
yes,
I have never seen his dick or balls.
And I haven't seen yours either,
Which
so
is
we're good.
Astonishing, considering we lived together. I had to walk through a bedroom where the only bathroom was, and I haven't slept in clothes in 20 years. So it's really quite astounding.
My favorite thing about that setup is I had to piss in empty beer cans when you had a lady over.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah.
That's some frat boy shit, man. It's good times.
Yeah. How are we alive?
I don't know.
But anyway, so the idea of this entire music video, the boys want to fuck. They want some Masti. They want to fuck. We cut back to our trio hanging out with their 2 unimportant friends and their 1 actually important friend. His name is Hardik. I don't know if that's a pun.
Yeah, I'm wondering.
But it is pronounced hard dick. We do get another dirty word pun later on. So again, I'm not sure what the levels are here. I promise I will give you the trio of heroes, their names, and explain them. They're really not important right now. I promise I will. Hardik laments that it's his last day of college, but regardless, he's going to get some with a passing lady. He starts flirting with her, only to be literally punched from off-screen and sent flying 10 feet away over a table. Like a fist just appears from off-screen and punches him like 10 feet away. The scene cuts to the greatest villain in fucking screen history, Principal Roberts, who just like is standing in the middle of this crowd. Principal Robert, I'm sorry. He's standing in a crowd of like students who are kind of gathered around, hushed. He's got one of those like newsy cab driver caps. He's wearing a plaid suit, like a dark black plaid suit with a vest, and on his outstretched left arm, he's holding a crow. And he has a handlebar mustache, and he always has the same stern expression on his face the entire movie. I have a thing with crows. It's kind of like my thing with juggalos, and those was not meant to rhyme, but it does.
You got a lot of things going on there, Larry.
I'll explain the crow thing.
Okay.
But I'll explain it later, because I want to keep going on through the plot here. I don't like crows. They either don't like or love me. I haven't figured it out yet, and that terrifies me. So in English, Principal Robert says, all crime is a kind of disease and should be treated as such, which is a Gandhi quote. And his voice sounds like they recorded it and then put it through like a gravel filter, so he sounded more gravelly and villainous.
Okay.
But he says it's mandatory for him to treat the school's disease. He's their new principal, and his first act is to drag Hardick via rope to the giant dead tree in front of the college, which the college is magnificent. It's like a giant Indian palace. He drags Hardick to this dead tree. He berates him for like playing with his girl's emotions, even though they had like 4 seconds together on screen, him and this girl, and she seemed totally into it. I mean,
all right,
not to step on anybody's toes or movements or anything, but it seemed pretty innocuous. Like he was being very innocent and flirty, and she was being very innocent and flirty back. And then he get punched in the face by an authority figure. So Robert ties him by his hands from a branch of the tree. He rips his pants down to his underwear, and he threatens that anyone who is caught fraternizing with a female student in any such manner will be hung from the tree in shame. So you'd think that would be okay, hang from the tree and be shamed. No, then he pulls out an axe and cuts off Hardick's dick.
Oh, shit.
With a fucking axe.
Oh, that's And,
like...
Is there a blood spurt?
No, it cuts away. This movie, again,
okay.
it's
just
very
chopping.
Teen. Think
Got
Teen
it.
Nick. Teen Nick.
Okay.
So
I don't think a dick axe chopping in Teen Nick, but I'm with you.
Like as the axe we don't see his dick. Like it's clearly nonsense. And I have some questions about the dick chopping. I'll get into that in greater detail later.
Is there more dick chopping?
There's just unresolved questions that I have.
Okay. Right.
But I'll get into that later. So we get a shot, for those of you who've seen Game of Thrones, this is not a spoiler because it's several seasons from behind where it is now. There's a shot where they cut to like a sausage where someone's dick would be. We get a shot of that as like our 3 heroes are kind of at a table and they're looking at this sausage and thinking about poor Hardick. And they're like, well, that really sucks that this principal's here, but we're like on our way out anyway. So, okay, well, screw that. So, see you later. And we cut to 6 years later. We see they've grown and matured, and we kind of differentiate them a little bit now, because before they were just kind of templates for Masti. Our first character is Amar, who is trying and failing to feed his baby, Papu. His wife, Mamta, comes in and bitches that Amar's useless, which is accurate, because he's trying to serve this baby like scalding hot milk, which even I, Lord No Kids, knows is a bad thing to do. And he's like holding this crying kid while she's going to cool down the milk, and he's like, God, why didn't I use a condom? So he's definitely our hero.
That poor child.
He gets a call from our second of the trio, whose name is Meat, which is with 2 E's, not M-E-A-T, although that makes much funnier. And Meat asks why they haven't seen Amar in a while, who Amar laments that he came a baby instead of not coming a baby. And that's just my little embellishment, because I like to use the word come, as I'm so sorry to everyone who thinks I'm an upstanding person and is finding out through this podcast that I'm just a shitty, talentless hack who likes to say come. And Meat says they'll pick up their third musketeer, Prem, after he finishes his day at the office. Meat gloats that his wife is the boss. She's not the boss. She's like his supervisor, which is a minor point. But he still calls the shots, and he does a cool collar pop when he says that. I like Meat. These guys are charismatic. They really put their all into it, and I dig it. I don't know if it's good acting in Bollywood terms, again, which I would need someone who knows more about that to know if it's good, because I don't know what they're intending with these characters, but it's a comedy, so, some...
But at least you're connecting with them.
Yeah, some like classic comedy overacting, so it's fine. I like these guys, and I like Meat a lot. He's clever. So he goes to see his wife to tell her that he's rolling out early, and he walks into her office, and we get another cut here where we don't get to see the action that's taking place, because we just get like a cut of his face, and then he's kicking a dude in the ass. So he walks. I'm filling in the blanks again here. This is not on the Netflix version. If I just did the Netflix version, you'd be bored out of your fucking skull. So he walks in and witnesses what he must appear to be his wife giving a blowjob to the boss. So he walks in, and seeing this, he kicks the boss in the ass and sends him flying like 5 feet. Any sort of physical action in this movie causes the victim of that action to fly off screen violently, like every time, except slapping. So yeah, and then we see what actually was happening was there was a puppy on a pedestal that he was standing in front of, like, the pedestal's at crotch height. So she's, like, on her knees, petting and playing with the puppy, and he's standing in front of the doorway at crotch height. So from a distance, it looks like she's, giving him the old 1,
nice
2.
visual gag there.
So he kicks his boss in the ass, and this guy's like, what the hell? What's wrong with you? What'd you do that for? And so he, like, realizes what is his mistake. So in the strangest move I've ever seen in anything ever, he takes a rotten banana peel from his own hand that he was carrying, throws it onto the ground, and says, Boss, you fool. You ate a banana and left the peel out. I kicked you to save you from slipping and breaking your neck. And everyone in the room just accepts this.
What?
Everyone in the room just accepts this. They're like, oh, okay, that's sensible. Thanks. And
oh my god.
He tries to... God damn it. It's so... where did he get the rotten banana peel? What?
That might be a cultural difference. You just carry around rotten banana peels all day in India.
Yeah, it keeps away... Nope. That was going to be racist. Okay. So he tries to... he tries to leave early, but his wife won't let him because she's his boss first and his wife second. And then, so he gets pissed off and goes back to his office. He says, they treat me like a slave. They work me like a slave. No idea what he does. He just works in an office. I work in an office, and I know what I do, so whatever. He has the most genius idea any human's ever had, though. He scatters a bunch of, like, nuts onto his keyboard, and then opens the window, and then sneaks away. And, like, later, the boss and his wife walk by the door, and they're like, in English, this entire conversation is in English, so, like, I want to see if the slacker's working. So they walk up and they put their ears to the door and they hear keys tapping. And inside it's pigeons eating the nuts off the keyboard. So they're clicking the keys. And instead of going in like an average human would and checking on him, they're just like, oh, he's working, thank God, and just walk away. Because it's a comedy, whatever.
This movie is starting to remind me of Airplane a little bit. Like, just the feel of it.
Airplane's funny.
Okay.
This is like very low level funny. Like Airplane, right, Airplane is clever. Airplane is very clever in their jokes. This is sort of like Airplane would just have jokes like the whole don't give me that white line shit, Karen, you bitch, whatever the line is, and just like the people on the plane, like that doesn't set up the jokes. Airplane just gives you the comedy, and that's part of it. It's like all of a sudden there's wacky shit happening, but it's funny and makes sense. This kind of sets up jokes. And then the jokes happen, and like funny or not, the setup, and then like the falling action of the joke is just kind of takes away from it because you can see it coming and you can see it going, and it's not as funny. So we got to our third hero, Prem. He works at a bank that gets held up, and now's a good time to talk about the sound effects, like the slide whistle.
Oh boy, they go take it to the nines.
It's riddled with sound effects. Like anytime somebody shakes their head, we get a noise. Anytime somebody blinks for effect, we get noises. Anytime there's like all kinds of noises all over the goddamn place.
That would drive me crazy.
So the lead bank robber, he's not wearing a mask. He's just a bald, average dude. He's kind of overweight. He doesn't look like a bank robber. He looks like somebody who just walked out of getting a Big Mac at McDonald's. He comes up to one of the people. He comes up to like 3 people at the bank, and he says, "Have any of you seen the bank robber?" And one guy says, yeah, I've seen the bank robber. It's you. So the bank robber just shoots him in the head.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then there's a guy and his wife there. And there's like one scene before where he doesn't put his hands up fast enough, and she kind of hits him and says, "Get your hands up." And the bank robber says, "Have you seen the bank robber?" And he says, "No, I haven't. My wife has seen him." So the guy just the bank robber shoots his wife.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
And he celebrates. He's like, "Oh, thank you."
That'll gag. Take my wife, please.
It's kind of dark because he just kills her. He like execution style kills her, and
yeah, again, is Teen Nick, Larry, we're going for?
It's weird. It's weird. Like
okay.
That's the darkest part of the movie by far. Like it's kind of upsetting.
Yeah, that's intense.
Like if she like slipped on a banana peel or something, or just got hurt, I mean that'd be funny because anybody getting hurt is hilarious. But
yeah, or even if she died in a super comic way, slipped on a banana peel and fell into a wood chipper, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, that wife is dead."
God, my bitch is dead. Yeah, but he literally he doesn't even like get her killed to save himself. He gets her killed because he hates her.
He could be tried for the third-degree murder or second-degree murder.
I think that's second degree because he basically tells a man to kill her, and he does it. I mean, he uses, like, low-level chicanery, but still. So, I don't know, that really bothered me, and even though it's the complete throwaway scene. So, we see that Prem has a silent alarm under his desk, and we get another cut set of scenes that I had to put together in my head that, excuse me, he gets a boner, and that's what sets off the alarm. Because we just see his face, and we cut to the alarm, we see it's in between his crotch, then we cut to the alarm going off, and then the bank robbers run, and then he's like walking out, or like reporters are trying to ask him how it feels to be a hero, and he's got his hands over his crotch. So I have to just put two and two together.
My God.
This is better than most scenes because we see like the hands on his crotch, meaning that, he's clearly hiding something.
Right.
So he gets home, he wants to make love to his wife, Tulsi. Every time they start, something in the house comes up, like the mama needs help cooking, or the kid needs help to be not cleaned, taught. So she has to go deal with it, and like she does it in fast motion because comedy is slow and fast motion. And then she comes back and starts the lovemaking again, and then she has to run off again. But Prem's getting more and more like sexually excited because he has his bank boner from earlier. And we finally get time for fucking, and he goes into the bathroom, and while he's in the bathroom, Tulsi sees her sister's cat under the chair and picks it up. The cat has a collar with like a big tag hanging down that says pussy on it, which I'm sure means something.
Okay.
But Prem walks out naked, and I assume erect, and the cat sees this.
No.
The cat takes this as a challenge and just bites his dick and or balls. So we
cat bites are nasty too. You get fucking infected like crazy.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that. So
no.
we cut back to Meat, he's got the wife at the office. He's watching I'm not being sarcastic, a very important to the plot news story that we see like a half second of about the Naked Gang, and that's really it. It's just the Naked Gang. Take care of your wife and children, your wife and daughters. The Naked Gang is out, and he's like, my wife isn't home, so he calls her. And she says, I'm at the boss's house. And he's like, this is the fifth time this week. I bet you're fucking him. So he goes over to her house, and there's a brand new BMW in the driveway that's wrapped up in a bow. This is important for several reasons. He looks in the window, and he sees his wife, whose name is Unati. She's hugging and kissing the boss, which, like, he looks very sad and prompts him to say, and Isaac, you went to college and have a degree, so you figure this out. My wife is a BMW. Can you figure out what that means? The BMW. It stands for something.
A BMW?
He says, my wife is a BMW. Blank, blank, blank.
Blank, blank. Big, muscular woman.
Oh, so close. By that I mean not at all. My wife is a BMW. Betrayed by my wife.
What?
Yeah.
Wouldn't he be a BMW?
Yeah, which, again, I wonder now, does that mean is that just a translation error, or is the writing that bad? Because I could believe both.
Ah, boy. Okay.
So, in a fury, because he's like, all right, well, this ugly boss is fucking my wife. I'm going to mess with this car, even though it's got any idiot can see the goddamn what's happening here. even if I was in a comedy movie, I could figure this out. So, he steals a nearby cement mixer and fills the car up with cement. And midway through that, Unati calls him and says, oh, I've been awarded a BMW for my hard work because, 1,000 miles away. But she's in the house holding the BMW key on the phone with him. So at no point did she go out to look at the BMW, which is right out the window, because he's looking in the window at her. So at no point when the boss said, let's replay the scene as if we're in this scenario where you're the person and I'm the boss. I give you a car, and I say, look, I got you a car. There it is out the window. You're going to go look at it.
Yeah. Also, my first thought would be, if you're handing me keys, you're just pranking me. There's not a car.
Right. Also, this house is one driveway, so she would have had to go past it to get into the house. It's got a big bow on it. Ugh, forget it. God damn it. So, Meat flees the scene. We cut to the hospital, where the cat appears to have suffered some sort of trauma from dick and or ball biting.
Wait, the cat suffered?
Yeah, the cat's, comatose. Prem is pissed off that everyone's concerned about the cat and that no one is concerned with his dick and or balls. I mean, I can appreciate that sentiment. We never get resolution, so I assume the cat died shortly after this scene. And it's
a hell of a way to go.
I'm guessing they used a real cat, and the cat choked to death on his dick or something. So I don't know.
No animals were harmed in the making of this movie.
Yeah.
Except the cat.
Back to MR with his wife, Mamta, and the still crying Papu. I'm using everyone's name because I know you'll forget them, and now I'm testing a different theory.
Papu is a great name for a baby, though.
It really is, but imagine an adult name, Papu.
Yeah, you switch.
It's like
you
Babu
switch somewhere.
from Seinfeld is all I can think of.
Yeah.
So MR is watching a TV show, which I can only it's what I can only describe as Hindi Mario throwing a quarter in a wishing well and turning from little Hindi Mario into big Hindi Mario, who then does a fast motion dance and screams, "I'm a disco dancer."
Well,
I
feel like I've seen it myself.
So we get this weird... Amar has these visions where his left eye twitches, and every time it twitches, we get this boing, 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 boing noise.
This overzealous sound guy.
Yeah. If you've ever played any of the old Sonic the Hedgehog games, it's the same sound as when Sonic dies on a spike. It's almost exactly the same. And that's all I can think of. So then he has a vision himself of him at the wishing well with Mamta and Papu, and he throws a quarter in and they disappear, and he does a dance. He throws another quarter in and a sexy lady appears. He has a better dance. And she throws a quarter in, and then there's a big hunky guy, and then the hunky guy throws a quarter in, and suddenly he's gay for Amar. And Amar throws another quarter in, and he gets his wife and baby back, and he kind of throws up his hands and walks away, which I thought that was kind of clever.
All right, yeah, I'm okay with that gag.
But yeah,
he
he gets these weird visions. That's kind of how we see the what if scenarios of the movie. So Papu falls asleep, and Amar's like, "All right, Mamta, we gotta fucking plow right now." We get a funny line here. Mamta is disgusted that he's bringing up fucking her in front of the baby. Again, teen Nick. And his counter is, was Papu downloaded from Google? He came into this world because of our pleasure. And our cum.
Does he say that?
No, I added the last
You just wanted
bit.
to say cum again, okay.
I did. So she relents, goes to freshen up, and he does the, I'm gonna plow my wife dance.
I loved doing that dance.
Which, if you've never seen it or done it, he is he lays down in bed, not on his back, but on his butt, kind of sitting up, so that he can rotate every one of his limbs in a different direction as fast as he can in an expression of wife fuckery.
Okay, we got different dances. I don't condone that one.
So while Mamta's freshening up, whatever women do when they freshen up, I don't really know. A thief climbs in through the window with a burlap sack, and he falls on his ass and screams, "Oh God, I'm dead!" And he's making a bunch of noise. And MR asks, "Well, who are you?" And the thief looks at him incredulously and says, "What do I look like, an actor? I'm a thief. I'm here to steal." And MR says, "Well, who asked you to come today?" Which again made me laugh. So they kind of argue back and forth, and MR lets the thief take whatever he wants as long as he does it quietly. So he like robs the house, not quietly, in fast motion. And then Hamar's like, take the baby. But he says, I'm not running an orphanage. And then he's like, we'll meet again. They don't.
Okay. So he's letting the guy steal the stuff and get out of there so it doesn't interrupt the sexy time.
Yeah. He wants to fuck his wife.
Got it. And
then the thief just takes like random plates and shit and like statues and just kind of.
Not a very good thief.
No, he's got a burlap sack, which is.
It's a bad sign.
Yeah.
If you're about to rob a place, check your hands. If you're holding a burlap sack, rethink what you're doing.
You may be robbing a Japanese woman in the 1800s rather. So they're about to fuck, and Papu wakes up because, of course, Papu wakes up. So at the doctor's office next day, because Amar astoundingly is a doctor, a fact which never comes up again. Mom just storms in and says the house got robbed, which he then proceeds to blame her for caring too much about the baby instead of caring about fucking him. Because she would have noticed the robbery if she had fucked him, because she'd have been more alert with his comment, or I don't fucking know. It doesn't make sense. Women are not treated particularly well in this movie, by the way, so...
yeah, I'm getting that sense.
Feminists and aspiring feminists, please use this as a platform to have us men killed, because we're really just the worst.
Yeah, we need to be reined in a tad, I would say.
I'm
Just
taking
a tad.
mass castration. If I
well,
didn't have a dick and or balls, I'd have so many less problems in my life.
That is a good point, actually.
Yeah. Also, in case you haven't noticed, I really like saying dick and or balls.
And or is what makes it.
That's the best part. That's how comedy works. So they all three of our heroes get a call from their old university for their alma mater, which is Sri Lalchand University of Technology and Science, or SLUTS for short.
Okay.
I didn't make that up. The girl on the phone says it. She says, "Oh, or SLUTS for short." The kids like the shorthand. So the boys are invited to their reunion for the college's anniversary, and they're super excited to relive their college, their glory days. But none of the wives can come with for various reasons. Mom has to take care of Papu. Unadi has to go on a business trip. Tulsi has to take her mom to the that says doctor. To the doctor for chest congestion or some shit.
Chest congestion?
No, chest congestion. It's like she has had chest congestion for like 2 weeks or some shit. I don't know. I stopped paying attention. So we get to the world's weirdest bar that should be a strip club, but it's not a strip club. It's just like a regular place. It's weird. Unless there's a strip club happening in scenes that have been cut out, and I don't know.
Probably. Teen Nick edited out all the titties.
Yeah. The boys are lamenting their lives, which, by the way, are fucking great. I wish I had a quarter of their lives. They're each complaining about their wives not fucking them because, progressive. 2013. We get this, so Prem, right? He's got this his bit is that he gets ideas. He's the idea man. And he has this super villainy face that we get these close-up shots of. It's like the Joker cloned himself, and then he fucks the clone, and the clone came a baby, and that baby was Prem. He's got the craziest Joker face. But their faces are really charismatic, and they do a lot of acting in their faces, and they're really expressive. So it's cool but horrifying. But he has an idea, a grand idea, believe it or not.
Idea.
He brings up the ABC thing from earlier, and he outlines this plan where the three of them will go to the reunion, and they're gonna fuck themselves silly behind their wives' back. And he goes so far as to say, the world will be amazed witnessing our fun. And recall again that in this movie, fun means to fuck around on your wife.
Wholesome.
That's Masti. Masti means to fuck. And in this case, now that they're married, Masti means to fuck around on your wife. Like, you don't have Masti with your wife. You make love to your wife. You have Masti with a nasty college bitch.
Okay, so Masti is exclusive to people who aren't your wife.
Correct.
So I can't have Masti unless I'm a bad person.
You cannot have Masti unless you have it, you went to college with a nasty college bitch. Or, just anybody.
I didn't get along with the nasty college bitches.
Yeah, I didn't know any.
I didn't know the right slang, apparently.
Yeah, the world was not amazed witnessing your fun. Yeah, okay, so they go to the airport. Fuck this scene, it means nothing. At the college, they pile out of their cab, And they see the college is loaded with attractive ladies walking around in bathing suits. And again, we get more cutscenes because we see like one bathing suit chick walk up to them and ask them to move. And then we just get close up to their faces as they're looking around and pointing and like making big chest motions and doing all that nonsense. And their expressions, again, ridiculous and awesome. But this turns out to be a dream sequence because when they actually pull up, everyone's demure and in veils and in not revealing clothes and in the slightest. And everyone is walking around in fear of Principal Robert, who is still there.
Oh, and so they should have worried about him back in the day.
He's still enforcing the rule of no contact betwixt the sexes. They're told by a passing nerd that Hardick, the boy from earlier who gets his dick cut off, he's now hospitalized at a mental institution. Now, here's where I begin to get suspicious about Hardick's dick. So...
That's a good sentence there.
It's never quite clear whether or not his dick has actually been cut off. The axe falls upon the dick in such a way that makes it seem like he couldn't... If Robert was just swinging the axe with intent to frighten, he would not have swung that close to the genital area and, without clipping something off. So the dick must have been cut off. But, as we'll see later, it kind of seems like the dick is still there. So, just for now, the status of Hardick's dick is in question. But Hardick himself is in a mental institution.
Why is he in a mental institution? I guess there's other reasons to end up there besides losing your dick, because that was the only reason I could think of.
Because he's so traumatized from the experience of, and again, I have to guess it's losing his dick.
Okay.
Because if you just hung up from a tree with your pants down, I mean, talk about my average Thursday.
Right, yeah.
As soon as this podcast is over, I'm going out and taking my pants off and getting the rope out, and, there we go. There's my Thursday night.
And that's why America's the greatest country on earth.
God bless America. So the nerd tells him that Principal Robert isn't around right now, but the crow keeps vigil. So let's talk about crows.
All right.
So
do you make a distinction between crows and ravens?
Yes, different birds.
Okay, ravens are fine.
No problem. Ravens are fine.
All right.
I like ravens.
So I can't use Edgar Allan Poe's poem against you,
unless you change the words, but the different syllables.
Then it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't work.
So crow. When I moved into my apartment that I live in now, within a week, there was a dead crow outside of my door.
That's actually pretty freaky.
1 month later, I almost stepped on another dead crow.
Damn, okay.
And by almost stepped on it, I mean like I fell. I did a pratfall to avoid stepping on it because otherwise I would have squished this dead crow in my sandaled foot. And I was taking big, heavy running steps, and I'm a larger man, both in size, weight, and stature. So it would have squished. So I did a pratfall the other direction to avoid stepping on it. And the third time, I watched it die.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I watched it fall from the... I guess I saw it die like a second after it died. Because I saw something out of the corner of my eye, something falling. And 5 feet away from me, a dead crow fell. So, wow. Crow is coming to me to die. And ever since then, I don't like them. I don't like what's happening in my life. I don't like that there's crows about.
I do not believe coincidences ever have any meaning. But
I don't either.
If that happened to me, it would freak me the fuck out.
I don't believe
against all reason.
I don't believe in any religion, coincidences, karma, luck, anything like that. Ghosts, but
that's still just gonna make your blood curl.
Watching the one die makes me sort of wonder.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I don't like any of the parts of this movie that had the crow in it. But
okay.
So MR has another vision with the eye bing, 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 and about the tree and them getting their dicks axed off, and the crow chases off the nerd. So the heroes are kind of bummed out because they're not going to get to have Masti and fuck around with their wives. But suddenly the arrival of a hot teacher, Mrs. Rose, who's dressed slightly more revealing than the rest of the girls, she shows up out of nowhere. Which it's now very important for me to explain this next scene shot by shot, because you'll understand where my frustrations are really starting to take root with these cutout scenes. So this is cutting nothing out. So Prem recognizes her. He's like, "Oh, Miss Rose." And they go up to her. They greet her. She's kind of like sad and tearful. So she's clearly depressed. So, okay, that's the baseline of the shot. So we get, Prem walks up. Prem asks how things are. She tearfully says things have gone from bad to worse. Shot changes to all 3 boys staying together, and they all gulp, like comically gulp. Next shot, she seductively asks Prem to come with her to the principal's office to register for the weekend.
Okay, so we missed several things.
I left nothing out.
What happened? We need a sex expert.
So
a sexpert.
So
Larry, do your thing.
This is where it starts to get hard, and I don't mean my dick.
Okay.
Or your dick, although, I don't...
Well, don't speak for my dick.
Isaac, I would never speak for your dick.
You can speak into it like a microphone.
Scream real loud into my ass. So, I don't know the history here. What about Prem makes her the one, or him the one that she chooses to, fuck? Because that's clearly what's happening here. I assume he has the meatiest groin, and she can tell. What my guess is that he was like a student she remembers. But we get none of that because I guess it was too sexy for my shirt and this TV and Netflix.
Come on, Larry.
He goes off with her, and then in the next shot, a red sports car, not American sports car, Indian sports car, drives up, and a girl gets out, and she's super hot. And Meat runs up to her, and they chat about old times. And she introduces herself as Miriam, and the two talk about how much they've changed. And by talk, I mean they have like 3 sentences. Okay, I just realized something. That's the girl from the beginning. Okay, all right. I'm sorry, I just had a revelation. I have to watch the movie a 4th time. Okay, so the girl from the beginning I talked about, who was like Preem, I love you, I miss you. This is her. Okay, she got sexy. All right, got it. Okay, all right.
Okay, wasn't sexy. 6 years later, she's sexy,
nope.
And she's a
I got
teacher.
It. We got a not another teen movie scenario here. Okay, all right. I did not know that. That explains that. Okay, so one of these boys actually has history. Sorry about having that revelation in the middle of this, but now that I'm saying this stuff out loud, it's all kind of clicking. So we get a shot of these 2 women. They're asking where each of these boys' wives are. And Prem says to Miss Rose he came alone. He came with the boys, but I'll let it slide. So she seductively leans in and asks him if he wants her to take away his loneliness. Again, she just throws herself at him, which makes me start to wonder, okay, is this all some kind of ploy? Are they leading up to something? Are these women hired by the wives? No. She just throws herself at Prem because she needs a good dicking, I guess. So she arranges to fuck him at 9. Which, I mean, fucking a sexy teacher who uses sexy teacher lines is one of my fantasies, so I'm all for it. And
yeah.
Off screen, Meat has sealed his deal to fuck Miriam, also at 9. This is important.
Okay, I see where we're going.
So, Prem and Meat are celebrating their success with Amara later. He laments that he hasn't found anyone to fuck yet, when the next sentence later is, of course, a woman then walks into the tent they're in to, basically be his fuck partner. So she, they're drinking beers, and she shows up, and she's got a bottle opener for them that she keeps in a chain around her neck, and we get the beginning of a scene that was cut where she starts to lift her shirt to grab it, but then they cut away and get some more goofy faces, and then she's just holding it. So I've been deprived of even more joy once again. So she tells them that she's been put at their disposal, which, gross. That's by who?
That's
by who?
Feminism.
We get one of the classic comedy where the 2 boys who already have fuck dates go outside, and they're looking through the tent to watch the silhouettes. And it's looking like nonsense is happening inside. And it looks like she's violently fisting him in the ass.
So the Austin Powers gag.
Yes.
Where it's just the silhouettes, right? Yeah.
Yes. So when the boys come back in, they ruin the joke by explaining it in its entirety.
Yes, Austin Powers never did that, so that's why it worked in that movie.
They're like, oh my god, how big is your asshole? How did she get her fist in there? And he's like, no, it's just a silhouette. And they're like, ha ha ha, the silhouette, of course.
Oh, why'd you do that?
I'm taking so much time. There's so much movie left. So she agrees to fuck MR also at 9. So we cut to the fucking about to happen. We don't see the dates. We just cut to boy and girl in bed, boy and girl in bed, boy and girl in bed. And they're all about to fuck. MR has another one of his ideals, and we go into a music video yet again. And oh my god, it's even better than the first one.
Oh boy.
Now, this time, it's just like, it's each of the couples dancing in like the rain on a street, or in like a temple, or in a coliseum, and they're fucking dancing, and the music is so good. The dancing is so wild. If we have a link dump, I'm gonna put one of the videos from this in it, because it's so fucking good. Bollywood dancing is the best, and I have zero complaints. And it's silly, and they get some like crazy sort of sexy moves that like over exaggerated sex moves that are implied, and it's awesome. So I have no complaints. But let's talk about the mistresses for a second, because they don't matter. Like, they really don't. And I'm not saying that like the wives have storyline. The mistresses don't. They, like, after this point, like after this next scene, they're just the other woman for all three boys. They have no personalities. Nothing separates them. So
see, I think that's a metaphor for how the men treat the women, Larry. Like,
no, I
they're
think
only good for sex.
I think it's just shitty writing.
Or that, yeah, it could be both.
Yeah. Also, dancing in the rain, it's hot when both men and women do it.
Yeah.
It's great. The music video is great, but these women, they don't matter. He says, hoping that line doesn't get cut and used against him in the future. The mistresses are not important to the movie for anything other than their statuses as mistresses. So they start to get randy beneath the sheets, all three of them. Now, it's important to note that none of them actually fuck these women. It looks like the women all get topless, and they're like, the boys are all covered in kiss marks, so clearly they've been doing stuff. Now, if there's no penis and vagina insertion, or penis and anus insertion, or probably penis and mouth insertion, I guess it's not full-blown cheating? I don't know what a judge would say about that. But yeah,
it'd be different. It'd still be problematic, but it's different.
It's important to note later that like the boys technically did not fuck the women, even though they definitely got into some definite stuff. But so in each couple, is, the doorbell rings, and Rose shoots up and says, "Oh shit, my husband's here." And Miriam shoots up and says, "Oh shit, my brother's here." And Mary, who I don't think I said her name earlier, she's MR's girl who was put at their disposal. She says, "Oh shit, my dad's here." And then they all look out the window, and it's the principal for all three. So the boys managed to fuck the principal's wife, sister, and daughter.
Okay, that's actually pretty funny.
Yeah. So
that's absurd, but I like that.
No, it's pretty ridiculous. So then we get like. Amar is looking out the window, and he's like, "How could that ugly man be your father? Why couldn't he be a different one?" So they're comically running around in their underwear, and they meet up, and they're like, "Oh shit, we fucked up bad." Somehow they didn't run into each other before this. I guess they just had, vagina on their mind. They had Masti on their minds.
Right, yeah, you're like blinders on a horse.
Yeah, you should really take the blinders off of your wife at some point. It's not. Yeah. It's cruel and unusual.
Well, a standing situation that my wife is aware of is she can never offer me sex in a place she's not ready to have, or she doesn't really like. I don't know. If she offered me sex in the middle of a funeral, I would take her up on it. There's nothing that would stop me from saying yes to sex. So that's entirely her responsibility to keep us from fucking in horrible places. And she knows this. And she has not abused it.
And that's what the blinders are for. I got it. Makes total sense. Fucking Jesus. Over here. So, yeah. So Robert busts in, and he's It's typical stuff. Nothing to really go over here. He sees the clothes and he's like, I know there's somebody here. What are you up to? And they're like hiding on the ceiling. They're like doing the hole up in the rafters to hide from him. And we get this weird, like, when they fall eventually, when the principal's out of the room with the girls, they like do this weird stop motion falling. I don't understand. And I only bring it up because it looks like they had to shoot the scene of them falling about 25 times. So I imagine all these actors are dead.
Okay.
So the girls tell Robert that it was the Naked Gang that broke in. Do you remember the Naked Gang?
Oh, right, the Naked Gang. So is this a roving gang of rapists?
I don't know.
What you said earlier made it sound like it.
We saw one news story that said, by the way, the Naked Gang's on the loose. Hide your wife, hide your kids.
Okay.
I don't
sounds
know.
rapey.
I don't know what the Naked Gang does. I don't know if it just...
I would assume I'm hiding them so they do not get raped.
Yeah. So the boys escape and they make enough noise that Robert, hears what's up. So he chases them because he thinks they're the Naked Gang, and he pulls an old-timey pistol off the wall, and he's, firing into the street at them.
Because the pistol you keep on the wall, you keep loaded, right?
Yeah. This is not a pistol that has multiple rounds. It's like a flintlock pistol, but he fires it multiple times.
Magic!
So they escape, and they get back to the school, and they get dressed, and they're like, we gotta get the fuck out of here. Forget our luggage. Forget Masti. We're fucking done. We're gonna get shot. So they jump into a cab, and they're, trying to get away. And Robert, he doesn't, can't tell it's them, but he knows, he can see them from a distance. He doesn't know who it is yet. So, he gets in a hearse. He steals a hearse and gives chase. And in the cab, they're talking about how they didn't fuck the girls. But again, like I said, I'm suspicious, but whatever. They reach the airport, but Robert catches up to them, and he's about to execute them in the street.
That's what you do.
And they're insisting that it wasn't them. But he pulls his gun, and he grabs Prem by the neck, and he's got his gun in his up to his stomach, real fucking gangster.
Yeah, Jesus.
And the wives show up from the airport, and he quickly jams his pistol away, meaning that he's clearly trying to hide the fact that he had a pistol on these dudes, but they're also in the middle of the street in a crowded airport.
Right? Yeah. What?
And he's been waving this pistol around the whole time, so it doesn't make any sense. So the boys, they claim they're just here to pick up the wives, and we get this whole nonsense scene. Well, the wives almost giving them away, and they have to make up a new story, and blah blah blah. Long story short, the wives are here, and the Robert lets him go, but he's suspicious. He knows something's up, but he can't prove they're the Naked Gang. So now we cut to the tents. I'm trying to speed this up. There's so much fucking bullshit. So we cut back to the tents, which are big, nice, sort of war general-y tents. And now the wives are all ready to fuck the husbands. But the husbands are all harrowed from their adventures, and they don't want to fuck now. We got this weird scene where Meat gets tied up by Nadi because she's into that, and she's going to freshen up. I don't know what women do when they freshen up, but it always takes long enough for comedy to happen.
That's why they do it.
Yeah, I know. She's in there waiting for her punchline.
Yeah, she just puts on a 90-second timer on her phone and just hangs out.
The crow shows up and pecks Meat on the dick. It doesn't go anywhere, but I feel compelled to bring it up because I don't want I want to give the crow the proper respect it needs to leave me alone.
Yeah, there's more nightmare fuel for you, Larry. Just getting your dick pecked by a crow.
So the next morning, Robert summons the boys to show them that a flower has grown near the dick chopping tree, which is supposed to signify that someone fucked his wives. And by wives, I mean wife, sister, and daughter, which they didn't, so this goes nowhere, and I don't know why they bring it up. He tells the boys to keep their mouths shut about what happened, and they come to the conclusion they're never going to cheat on their wives again. Their Masti's over, they almost died, they didn't get any action, and fuck it. It's not worth it.
Aw, lesson learned. Look at that. And we're back to Teen Nick.
But then the wives and mistresses show up, and they're best friends. Sisters, even, now.
Oh, awkward.
Off-screen. All off-screen. So we get a shot where they say they're going to go to Miriam's milk factory, which is not a pun, because in the next shot they have cow's milk. They're at this resort-style pool, which is at the college. I don't understand, and it's all I could focus on is what fucking college has a sandals fucking resort-style pool. And all of a sudden, the boys get videos on their phone of them about to bang the mistresses. So they all kind of freak out, and there's this weird thing where Prem smashes his phone, his wife's phone, blah, blah, blah. So they go out to meet with the one who sent them the videos, which is the strip club bordello. I can't figure out which. There's like an English girl who is the worst actress in the whole movie. By English, I mean British English. And she's like, the boss said to get comfy and go in the hot tub. She's really bad. She's like a porn actress who is so bad an actress that she's like the bartender in the scene. She's like Dee in the one episode of Always Sunny, if any of you is a fan, where she's like a side character in a softcore porn.
Oh, right. That one's good. Yeah.
So the boss who's orchestrated this whole thing and took the videos, it's Hardick. Yes, that Hardick. He escaped from the asylum. He's fat. He's wearing a gi and a headband. And he's escaped from the asylum 2 weeks ago. And in that time, he has this whole elaborate plan to kill Principal Robert. So he somehow gets video in Robert's house of all three of these boys. I don't know if he has Confederates. He seems to have a legion of whores working for him. And that's not me being sexist. I think they're literally whores. It's tough to say. That or strippers.
All right.
I don't know. Let's say strippers. That's less insulting.
Ladies of the night in one manner or other.
Ladies who are more active in the evening than they are in the daytime.
Nocturnal women.
He's got these ladies who seem to be his... I don't know. They work for him. They don't work for him. I don't get it. But he can't kill the principal himself because he's too haunted by the school to go back. But I mean, you know, he was in the house to get the videos, so I don't understand. But he's going to have the boys kill the principal because, you know, he's got blackmail on him now, and it's easier if they do the work.
Okay.
He's going to send the videos to the principal and the wives if they don't do it. Now, Isaac, I didn't attend a prestigious college, nor did I finish a college education, but you did. Is the principal of a college a big deal?
Well, I guess in the States, it's called the president or the dean, maybe depending on which one.
Well, this isn't the translation error because, like, he says Principal Robert in English a bunch.
Oh, well, that's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know who mine was.
Okay, so
I don't know the name. I never met him. I guess he handed me the diploma.
So yours didn't lead a dick-chopping reign of terror? Hated by a crow?
Not publicly.
Of unknown alignment? Not publicly. So many dicks lost in the dark.
That's how democracy dies, Larry. Losing your dick in the darkness.
So, the next night at a dinner party, Meat just poisons a bowl of soup with some unidentifiable poison he has just in his pocket.
Yep. Well, he's got rotten banana peels and poison, apparently.
Yeah, he just gets shit from hammer space. So, like, the boys, the mistresses, the wives, and the principal are all sitting at a table. And we get the gag where, like, the mistresses and the wives each have a hand on a different leg, and the boys are freaking out. The principal doesn't eat the soup. And eventually, MR gets a boner that knocks the table up because of the power of his penis compels you. And it knocks the murder soup into Robert's lap. So, no murder.
Is his penis poisoned?
I don't know. No, it seems fine. He's got an ice pack on it later, like 20 minutes later, which is the next time he shows up.
I get just from the hot soup, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not how poison works.
So later, the boys are getting head massages from a trio of Chinese women, and they're bemoaning, "Oh God, we have to murder. We can't be murderers. We're not good at it." And eventually, Prem freaks out and yells in English, "Hey, chicken lollipop, get lost!" And like the Chinese women argue with him, and Amar just shouts, "Oh, careful, she might know kung fu." And then the other one says, "They all know kung fu because racism is not only for Americans anymore."
Oh yeah, I always forget about that.
Yeah, the rest of the world also kind of racist. So none of them want to kill the principal. They instead decide, let's just fuck with Hardick and steal the videos off his phone and delete them so he can't use them against us. Prem gets another one of his crazy Joker on Joker clone, comma Prem baby ideas, where he, like with a weird face. We cut to Hardick's place. Prem and Meat have disguised themselves as women, who are Harris from Paris and Shauna from Ghana.
Just want those names. I want to point out you got 2 movies in a row where men dress up like women. Yes. I want to see if that's something we could keep going.
Yes, thank you for stealing my thunder on that. My next joke.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And Amara's disguised themselves as their manager. So the white chicks, I mean our heroes. By the white chicks, I do mean the white chicks. And by the white chicks, I mean they're, Indian dudes. They tie Hardik up in a sexy way as if to sex him up, which again leads me to the question, what is the status of Hardik?
Yeah, really?
Oh, I'm running out of steam. I'm so bored.
Right. Okay, I'm getting my money's worth on this movie now.
Yeah.
I feel the frustration.
They argue about who's going to pull his phone out of his pants because he keeps it in his crotch, and we get a cut scene where he's blowing off steam from himself because the crotch pulling was sexy, I guess. I don't know. I didn't see it.
Okay. So
they get the videos, Prem deletes them, and then Prem immediately calls the mental hospital, and he says in English, "Hello? Mental hospital?" I guess he has the number tattooed onto the back of his hand, or it's in Hardik's phone. And
he knows which mental hospital it was, too.
They're using Hardik's phone, which leads me to believe Hardik has the mental hospital's number in his phone. Why would he? Is he prank calling them to show off that he got away?
Yeah, he wouldn't have a phone in the hospital, so he just got a phone. Why would he put...
Yeah. He enacted this 2-week plan. He got a bunch of ladies of the evening to be his willing or unwilling servants. He has no money that I can tell. He fucking... Forget it. This movie sucks. So the boys go back and they hear their wives are all kind of crying and lamenting about how, they're shitty wives, which they're not, by the way. Nadi's trying to save money for a house, and Mamata's trying to be a good mother. Oh my god, the dog's getting a squeaky toy. Can you hear that?
Just a little bit. I think we're good.
Yeah. So for those of you who can hear my dog, he decided now's a good time to play with a squeaky toy, and I can't kill him. I love him too much. I'm sorry. So,
just pull the pistol off the wall and shoot him, because it's obviously loaded.
Well, I used my flintlock pistol to shoot a member of the Naked Gang and haven't reloaded it yet, so...
Oh, well. You did your service, though.
That gunpowder is really hard to get. Where were we? The wives are saying how they've been shitty. They haven't been. And the boys, feel, legitimate guilt because, they tried and mostly succeeded at cheating on them. And the wives are blaming themselves, and they're they feel legitimately there's an actual moment of humanity where they kind of oh man, we're the worst people ever. So I'll give them credit.
Learning lessons.
At least they're dimensionalized enough to feel actual shame, and they vow they never again will think of Masti and want to be good husbands, and they actually do. They stick to that for the rest of the movie. So
well, yeah, but this is movie 2 of 3, so
well again the movies aren't in order, so they're in the next movie and in the first movie they're married to different women.
Oh, okay.
It's not it's the same characters in different universes, pretty much.
I thought there was some continuity, just completely different stories, but I guess not.
Nope, okay. It's just the same characters and the same faces, and I assume the same music videos.
Gotcha.
But which, by the way, while we're on the topic, the first movie is Masti, 2004. This movie is Grand Masti, 2013. And the third movie is Great Grand Masti in 2016, which that one tanked.
Oh, man, I should have made you watch that one.
Well,
maybe in the future.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future.
So the boys, they agree to be good. The principal, he's pissed off. He's fucking ludicrously pissed off that he hasn't caught the perverts who tried to fuck his women. And I say his women because that's how he treats them. So he and his crow hatch a plan. I just want to not think about the fucking consequences of that. He has these pills that, and I quote, attract women and men to one another and make them lose self-control. So, roofies. Roofies again. Roofies again.
Oh, man, yeah, we got a couple themes going.
Wikipedia, interestingly enough, calls this a love potion. Which, Wikipedia, something you want to tell me? Which is
what's the guy's name? Jimmy Wales?
Yeah, Jimmy Wales. He and
also
Zuckerberg
invented Rohypnol.
He actually wanted to call it whale hypnol, but that sounded too much like a whale oil product. There's a whale oil product of the same name in the 1800s.
Well, Hypnol. That's how you could get whales in bed. Okay.
If you want to fuck a whale, you need whale Hypnol.
Hey, they got a whole extra hole. I'd probably go more in the porpoise category just for size reasons.
You think you could fuck a blowhole with your entire body? Like your whole body is the dick.
Blue whale cocks are 6 feet long.
Oh my god, that's bigger than me.
I know.
Not quite.
Yeah, you could well, I don't know how much satisfaction they get. You could insert yourself into a blowhole, I'm pretty sure. If there's any marine biologists, write in, let us know. Send us some tweets.
There's a lot of people we need to have write into us.
That's how we'll expand. If you know any marine biologists, tell them to listen to this episode. We need their help.
Oh, God. So, the crow takes the fucking roofies and flies into the soup, because it's always goddamn soup, to the final dinner of the reunion. Everybody's all dressed up. Everybody's, like, pairing off, and they look great. And I'm fat and hate myself and look awful. So he puts the roofies in the soup, and everybody eats it. And at the stroke of midnight, everybody, like, flies back, like, a half a foot, like it's a Revlon commercial, and they all get hit with a blast of wind. And, the boys, like, actually start to have seizures, like, literal seizures. They're looking back and forth. Oh, shit. They're looking back and forth between the wives and the mistresses, and the wives and the mistresses, like, all of whom are hot to trot. And they're like, they're beckoning him over. I do a half-decent Christopher Walken, but I have no voice right now, so, you know. So we get another music video, and this one is somehow even better. And it's got the titular song, which is Grand Masti, which we've been hearing the whole time. And it's been in my head since the day I watched this movie the first time. Because it just goes, Grand Masti, pa 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 pa. And it's great. And this is the video I'm going to link you to.
Okay.
So it does begin as such in English. The line is, I got a rocket in my pocket, so baby come and launch it. Now we can fly away now. Get in the room and lock it. It's just fabulous, and I love it.
Wow.
And the dancing is amazing, and they're wearing suit jackets and jeans, and everybody's fucking kicking it. And there's like a brass band playing on stage. It's fucking amazing. I love it. And the video, it's the best. But now we get to the problem where these music videos do take place in reality, because it now affects the plot. Because in the middle of the dance number, the mistresses kidnap each of their boys away. So I don't get it. But they're overcome with lust. And by the way, the wives are now out of the movie until the last scene. They do not appear again.
Good writing there. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, they're just still there dancing, thinking everything's great. So in the bathroom, the girls are basically about to rape the boys. They're trying, to their credit, they're trying not to, because they don't want to be unfaithful anymore. And Robert bursts in with a gun, a different gun, not the flintlock pistol.
Okay.
And he confronts the boys with the line, "Enough of your bromance, time to embrace death." Which, if that's not how we die...
I know.
I want us to die that way.
We should get business cards and carry them around. If anyone's about to shoot us, be like, hold on. Can you please say this first?
In lieu of a last meal, will you say this bullshit line? So, the mistresses, like, they start to verbally assault Robert. Rose reveals that he tricked her into marrying him. Now, we lose a scene again here, and I'm coming to the end of that, I promise. But it's valuable this time. It's not just nonsense, because it involves a valuable plot point, which I got from Wikipedia, where she reveals to everyone there that Robert is impotent, which is his whole reign of terror.
Rage. Okay.
But in the Netflix version, she says, he tricked me into marrying him, and then we want our rights back. Get him! Whereas in the actual full movie, she says, he tricked me into marrying him, he's impotent, we want our rights back, get him. So this group of girls, because there's a bunch of people trying to fuck in the bathroom, they all attack him. Rose gets a baseball bat from, again, Hammerspace, and she's hitting him with it. And the boys leave, they run away. But they're not escaping from Robert, they're escaping from the girls' lust, because the mistresses, they stop beating up Robert to go back to trying to fuck the boys.
Oh wow, this is getting weird.
Yeah, so they're all hiding. They all pick weird places to hide. Like, there's a peeing statue that MR hides behind, and when the peeing stops, he pees. We get that bit. Meat just climbs up a tree, and Prem hides inside this bull, which is basically like the rhino from goddamn, what's that movie? Ace Ventura, Pet Detective 2?
Oh, right. I need to see that movie again.
He hides inside this hollowed out bull, which is like out front of the school, and he gets stuck in there when Rose like runs off. And he like takes off all his clothes because it gets hot. And then like suddenly, without the shot changing or anything, out of the bull's asshole, there's like a tiny little peephole. And he says, "Oh my god, a hole." And in the next shot, he just walks out of the back of it, like with his clothes. Like he gets out of the bull in between scenes. So either something got cut out, like him crawling out of the bull's asshole, like Ace Ventura.
How do you not do that joke then? If you got a naked man inside of a bull.
I assume it was just cut out again. I don't know.
Yeah.
But whatever. So Robert, he escapes the mob of girls off screen. I only bring this up because as he comes into the shot, he's tucking his pistol away. Did he kill these women? I think he killed these women. But there's this gag where he's going downstairs and shut up, dog. He's going downstairs and these old people are going slow and they slow him down, blah, blah. So, final confrontation. I'm wrapping it up. I'm sorry. Hardick shows up in a mental institution van because he escaped again. He's bent on killing Robert. The mistresses and the boys, they're back together. They're each back in their group. And we get this weird scene where Rose is just upside down in a manhole. Just no reason.
All right. Well, there might be a reason. We just got to cut.
And, like, the disjointed cut scenes are getting really bad. Like, this must have been 20 solid minutes of movie that got cut out. It's getting hard to follow.
I want to see the uncut version now.
I do, too, but I looked up one scene, which is coming up, and it's not sexy.
Oh.
Which is the parts I expect. Like, okay, my pig-headedness aside, it's, like, not sexy enough to merit being cut, either. Especially because some of the shit that's on Netflix, you know, has dicks and balls and tits and vaginas.
Vaginas.
I can't speak. I can't speak anymore.
Come back to my place. I'll lick your vagina.
All right, so they're on a roof. He shuts the door behind him. He's about to shoot them. Hardick like kicks in the door, just very slightly, and it knocks Robert 10 feet away. He slides down the roof, and he's hanging on by a pipe for dear life. And like everybody's kind of arguing, do we save him? Do we not save him? And eventually MR's like, look, he's an asshole and he tried to kill us, but we should still save him because he's our teacher. He was never their teacher. He was their principal for a day. So
right, yeah, whatever.
They like kind of browbeat Hardick into doing it too, into helping them. Because they're like, oh, you'll be remembered not as a villain, but as a hero who saved the principal and saved the day. And he's like, hey, you know what? You boys are right. I was in a mental institution for 6 years, but I'm reformed now.
All right, just like that.
So they make a conga line. No, not conga line. They make a human chain. I skipped ahead. They make a human chain to reach down to him, and Hardick betrays them and kicks them off the roof, and they all like catch on to the principal who's hanging off there.
Oh my god, this is so cartoony.
Okay, you know how like in a cartoon when like people are hanging off a cliff, like hanging on by the feet, and it's like a chain of people, they're on the principal like a conga line. like the principal's hanging on to the thing, and then MR is hanging on to his back, and Prem is hanging on to his back, and then Meat is hanging on to his back. So it doesn't make any sense physics-wise. And that's all I can think about is while this is happening. So Hardick is gloating, and he reveals the boys never fucked the girls, and the principal's like, no, sorry about almost killing you boys. My bad. And so the mistresses then kick in the door, and then Hardick ends up on the conga line. Oh, God. And I keep losing steam because even the jokes I have written are not interesting because this movie's so fucking dull. So, the mistresses don't know how they can save everyone because there's no ropes or cables or anything. And now, for the last time, I will say it. The cut scenes here, again, because it impacts the plot. So the girls say, in the Netflix version, the girls say, no, there's no ropes or anything here. We can't save you. And Prem says, he does his Joker face. He's like, I have an idea. And then they all fall off.
Okay.
Now, in the full cut, Prem's idea is girls make a rope out of your clothes. Which they do. And the rope isn't big enough. And so they're down in their underwear. Now, it's like the pig-headed part of me. It's really unsexy underwear, which is like, okay, again, I don't understand why this was cut. Dog, I swear to God, I'll take care of you in a second. I'm talking about Indian movies. Sorry, listeners. This audio and my dog will be better next time. So we don't get the cut of that. And like the end of that scene, why Robert loses his grip is because they don't have enough clothing rope, so they start to take off their bras to make it longer, and then he like freaks out. So, oh my God, fucking, why are you explaining this, you fat fuck? So they're in the hospital, and the wives who are now back in the movie are like, hey, what happened? Where were you? Why were you all running around? What was going on? Why were we horny for you for the first time in our lives? And everybody's in full body casts, and they're like grilling the boys, and the principal's like, no, these boys are great. There was a misunderstanding between me and Hardik, and they're great, and everything's awesome. Now, again, this is the last time, because the movie's over now, so I lied to you. The cut scene here is that he's no longer impotent, because like all the blood rushed to his dick while they were hanging off the side of the roof.
Oh, he's transformed.
But in the Netflix version, he's just like, no, these boys, they're alright. They didn't fuck my women. And then the wives hug the boys, and the boys are screaming because they're in casts, and that's it. The movie ends.
Well, at least we got resolution for everything.
Oh my God, my voice is cracked, bleeding, my brain is swollen and dead. So, yeah, I mean, like, pretty much everything I said before in the beginning still applies. It's just, there's the cultural differences I didn't get. There's a lot of just jokes that don't work, jokes being explained, too many cut scenes. Even the full version I don't think would have been any better. So really, it's just a piss poor effort here. And, you know, it was reviewed pretty poorly, but everything I'm seeing about the reviews in India were, you know, because it wasn't family friendly, which is what it seems like. Now, I didn't get a huge sample size, and I'm sure there's a lot more than what I saw. So, but that doesn't really seem like the target audience. You know, I wouldn't. That'd be like criticizing Scream for not being funny enough. It's not a comedy. So,
right.
I don't know. So, yeah, just really excellent dancing. Really great music. Those scenes were off the charts. They're the best. I loved them. The main characters are... The actors are pretty good, and they get a lot of emotion done with their, like, expressions and their faces and their acting. So I'll give them credit for that. None of the rest of the actors are particularly anything special. The cinematography was fine, but yeah, just really poor writing, and the cuts really caused a lot of detriment to the plot and to my enjoyment. So, you know, pretty shitty. I give it 2 kick-ass Bollywood backup dancers out of 10. Oh,
well, I'm disappointed you got as much enjoyment as you did out of the music videos.
Yeah.
That's my regret here, but I'm glad it sucked.
You're right about the theme of don't shoot your wife. That is kind of ultimately, you know, don't have Masti. And the synopsis you said was 3 college guys go back to a reunion in their sexual escapades, but they have wives, but it's them cheating on their wives or swapping wives, and the zany nonsense therein is what you said. And that's pretty much right, although the zany nonsense got pretty zany.
Yeah, it sure did. A villain with a crow sidekick, and wife, sister, daughter,
also,
sex.
If he's impotent,
What?
How do they have a daughter?
Well, he could have been impotent after the daughter.
I guess. What is the thing that made him impotent? Like, did he have to, like, what's the opposite of hanging from a tall building? Like standing on something heavy that made his blood go back out of his dick? I don't know. I'm talking shit.
Right, yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay, God. Your next fucking, as we described last episode, your movie that's coming up next week is Perfect Sisters. I'm out of voice.
Yeah.
You talk now.
Oh boy. Well, yeah, okay, so next week we're doing Perfect Sisters. This is a movie. Oh man. This is weird. And okay, so normally I just want to do one watch of the movie, pause when I need to, take my notes, and so I only have to suffer through it once. I started trying to do that with this movie, and I couldn't, because I was too angry. And I've watched this movie 3.5 times now.
Oh my god.
Because there's so much I just needed to figure out what's actually going on, and why do I hate it exactly.
I'm so excited.
So next week, that's going to be fun.
To whet your appetite a little bit, bowels, or whatever the fuck we're going to call you, I have some juicy texts that Isaac sent me in relation to this movie that I've been sharing in my job and to my friends, and it's been fantastic. So I'm looking forward to next week.
Oh boy, it's going to be a ride. But yeah, for this week, that was the Bowels of Netflix. We hope you enjoyed Larry's suffering.
I didn't.
Well, yeah, you don't, but we all do. Everyone else in the world enjoys this episode except for you.
I'm sure that's the case.
Yeah. But yeah, if you want to engage with us in the internet manners that are available, we have the Facebook, we have the Twitter. They're both at Bowels of Netflix if you want to take a look. And if you want some more substantial communication, you can send us an email. That's bowelsofnetflix@gmail.com. It's bowels, not bowls. Don't fuck it up.
Seriously, guys, it's not hard.
I know. The other account we set up is filling up. Larry's tries to manage it, but there's just too many emails in there. It's preposterous. But yeah, we might send you a reply. We might read your email on the air if it's interesting enough. You could just give us some thoughts. You could share some movies we might want to check out. If we said anything particularly stupid, you could call us out on it. But please be sensitive, because we are very... we have fragile egos. Very fragile.
Oh my god, it's so fragile. I hate myself so much. And all I have is this show.
You got the dog. You didn't shoot it, did you?
No. Well, there. Hey! Be nice.
Call and response.
Yeah, so he desperately needs to go out and shit out to me talking about this movie. So.
Alright, well, I think that is a wrap then.
Thank you for listening, everybody, and hopefully next week will be a real treat. You don't have to listen to me talk, which is my favorite part of things. Not having to hear me is my favorite part of the episodes.
Go fuck yourself, Larry.
I love you.
Love you too.